For the first time in NASA history, we'll have a 2-hour endurance race here from the Penguin RC Sportscar Challenge. I am CubeCast. Here with me in the booth, as always, is Matt Kingsbury. And Matt, this longer format's going to be making things pretty interesting as we see some drivers still yet to set times here in qualifying.
Yeah, only about half the field so far taken time. I think there's about 7 drivers still have to set one. And, pretty close at the front here with Kingsbury, Rab, Lambert. But there's also a huge gap back to Blake Reynolds, which is quite boggling for the two of us to see, obviously.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the pre-race. He was just about 2 seconds off in practice, and we thought, oh, maybe just he wasn't on his qualifying set or something like that. But no, he's out there on his qualifying trim and a second and a half behind Ray Kingsbury, who currently sits P1. This is a look at Cody Crosgrove finishing up his lap coming into the pits and getting a last little bit of pit practice in. We'll switch over here to Sarah Rabb on a flyer. She's up a tenth from her last lap, but she's still about 2.5 tenths off of Ray Kingsbury. So she's looking to improve. Just got to see where drivers are able to improve their laps. And looks like some guys aren't even attempting to get their qualifying laps in.
Yeah, very interesting, but I think it's a race where it doesn't really matter where you start. You can start 20th here. It's a 2-hour race. It's not that big of a field, so if you're fast enough, you can definitely make your way up to the front. With that said, I think the big thing of interest here is, one, safety cars, and two, the pit stops, right? Are we going to see tire changes? Are we going to see one caution, two cautions? Who knows?
And Ravi saw her. She got an off track, and I think that might be the end of her qualifying. I don't think she'll be able to get around and get another lap in. This is a look at Christian Aust, who's currently sitting in the 6th position. He is just over a second behind Ray Kingsbury. I'm gonna mix you guys up all night for whatever reason tonight. But I mean, overall, just interesting to take a look at some of the where some of these drivers are. I know that you see Brandon Lambert there in P3. He seems satisfied with his lap time, so he's not out there to try to improve. But he's been practicing a lot this week, and it seems to have paid off with where he's starting.
Yeah, I think so too. One thing is, though, short run sprint pace, qualifying pace, a lot different here than race pace. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone's just focused on race pace and has that dialed in and has, the long run speed in their car. I think that's going to be a big difference for tonight's race.
Christian's last lap was a 218.3, does not improve. Currently sitting on a 217.5. 3 drivers currently sit in the 216 bracket. And just about everybody else is down there in the 217. So top 3 kind of have a little bit of a gap, but just about everybody from 5th on back to 11th, all within about half a second of each other. So definitely going to be a fun one to watch here tonight. As we said, the first ever endurance event in this league. I think this is season 4 of it, and this is the first time we're doing that. No sprint race tonight, which, I mean, thank God if we're going to be running 2 hours after this. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. So he is in the pit. Sarah Rabb is back out there. I don't think she'll be able to get another lap in. However, she works through the chicane now, right behind the 66 of Blake Reynolds. Reynolds last lap 218.2. That's about a second off of his best here in qualifying. But Sarah thought about going to the inside there in La Sauce and could not make the move. But this is what you don't want to happen in qualifying. You don't want to be stuck behind somebody. That's going to hinder your lap as they come up here to a Rouge and Radion, and just nowhere for her to go. Can she do anything down the Kemmel straight to try to fly by? There's a car exiting the pits as well. That was close for all 3 of them. And she's going to peek to the inside. Can she do anything here under braking? Which, I mean, you just don't want to be battling like this in qualifying. But I guess if you're going to get some race sim in here in qualifying, it might be the best way to do it. There you see, clock tick down to 0. I think that's going to be the end of the session. Or actually, are they going to be able to finish their lap? I think that they've changed something in the session to where drivers are able to finish their lap here tonight. Yes, they have. They've taken away the lap requirement which means that they are able to finish the lap that they are on. So Rab still about a tenth up on her previous best. She went purple in the last sector, but not able still to get to that 2/10 mark that she needs to. See if she can get anything here through Blanchimont and the chicane. She might have it. I'm seeing her 3/10 to the good for now. She's got to keep it on the track, though. So here she comes through the final couple of corners. Laps take about 2:16 here. Through the chicane, what is her lap time? She's got to beat a 2:16.2 to launch off the corner. And she does go faster, but not enough as the 2:16.4. The lap also didn't count. She got an incident point at some point during that lap. So was not enough to improve as we get set for qualifying, or for the sprint, or for the I'm all sorts of thrown off tonight. For the feature race here from Spa. Ray Kingsbury going to sit on the pole with Sarah Rabb on the outside of row 1. Then Lambert and Fanning, Crosgrove, Ost, Carroll, and Reynolds, row 4. Then Big Dog Force, Marwan Mafta, Peter Houston, Tim Brokaw, row number 6. Then Navar Luce, Brian Son, William Dunmore, and Daniel Saponsky. The last of the drivers did not set times, going to Saponsky, Smith, Jeffrey, Rawls, and Simone. So that is a look at your lineup for tonight. I'm just waiting for the rest of these cars to take to the grid. It looks like they're going to take their sweet time doing it, because it's going to be a long race here, Matt.
Yeah, 2 hours and plenty of time to make up lost ground. So, qualifying not the most important thing today, but it is Spa. Spa's a tricky place, and I did the Spa 24 a few years back, and at one point I came up through Eau Rouge, and it was just blocked. The track was blocked ahead of me. I actually saw a car from the bottom of that. I saw a car flying in the air, so anything can happen here. It's a crazy track.
And it gets even more interesting with a 50 or 60 car field like you do for that event. Only 20 cars here tonight. Might be down to 19. Nick Simone is claiming he's got some connection troubles plaguing him, so he might not be able to race with us here. Still, just drivers taking their time joining up here. It looks like they actually had to wait for somebody to finish their qualifying lap. That's what that was all about. So now drivers are going to be able to take to the track here. Race will be 2 hours from the time that they start the race, and it's going to be an interesting one. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and we got a short run up here to the start-finish line. They're rolling off right before the chicane, the penultimate corner. So pretty interesting there. And then also, some important things to note here: Brandon Lambert, your AM class leader, and then followed by Kevin Fanning. That's one of your other top AM class guys. So second row is both AM class drivers, and front row is pro drivers.
Yeah, and there you see Sarah Rabb already on the grid. There's your AM class leader there. The Complex Simworks number 46 of Brandon Lambert. That car always likes to stand out on the grid. The tires really make it pop, and you see it there. You got I think that's Fanning there with just the stock black rims. Then you got everybody back behind him, including Crosgrove and Ost there with their color match rims as well. Waiting on a couple more drivers still to take to the grid before we're able to get rolling. But 2 hours here tonight. We might see a caution as well. We don't know. The drivers don't know as well. I'll just pull out of my butt when we decide to throw that caution. No. It's based on the number of incident points that happen during the event. So going to be a fun one to watch if that happens. We have never had a caution in the history of NASA in general, I don't think. So
just for Indy cars.
That's correct. Yep, we did have some oval races in the championship series last season. I completely forgot about that. But first time in the stock cars and anything with a fender. But yeah, we are rolling.
Yeah, I think person to watch here in the starts been Blake Reynolds. You know, he might have better race pace than some of these guys ahead of him. I think it's something to watch out for, but long run speed possibly the question mark as we're about to go green.
Now down the front straightaway, they're going to come towards La Sauce. They're side by side. The green flag is out. Not yet. I'm not seeing it out yet. Did they throw it after the...
I believe it goes down in
That's
the
right. I
long
forgot
straightaway here.
they do move it down to after La Sauce for the start of the race. Typically, that is the finishing line, though. And that's just going to tidy things up here on the start. So we're still waiting. There you see it. The green light is on. Barney waving the flag, and we are underway with still side-by-side out in front. Rab and Kingsbury up through Radion. Here they come. A little loose there, a little wiggle from Rab, but she keeps the car under her. She's under pressure, though, from Brandon Lambert there. Side-by-side, working their way down the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, we got a single file for top four here, but battle for fifth. As we see Christian Ost making the move, also down on Brandon Lambert. Second place, Sarah Rapp. Trying to make the move on Brandon Lambert. Sorry, that was Cody Crossgrove was alongside Christian Ost.
There you see Rab on the inside through Malmedy. Not quite clear yet. Now through Brussels. Can she get the move done there? She is clear. Lambert tucks in line, and I think that it's a smart move by Lambert, just letting her go, tucking into line, trying to run some clean laps early on to get this field a little spread out, because the way that it's going so far, from what we've seen from races so far, these early stages of races, sure, we typically have the invert, but typically you'll see a bunch of incidents early on.
Yeah, and it's good to see them spread out really quick here, but also at the same time, long race, and we still, something's happened to Ray. He's dropping the lead there down to second.
Yeah, just kind of caught the start of that move from Sarah Rabbit. She got the move done under braking. There, I believe that was into Lefanes, and she can't get the move done there. Now into Campus Corner and Stavelo.
I had to go take a look back, but Ray went way wide down it. I think it's I'm gonna definitely butcher the name here, but I think it's Radian or something similar to that. The double left-hand corner. He went way wide. He was almost out by the wall. He was halfway between the rumble strip and the wall.
That's a double gauche, by the way. Ready on his the
go.
long corner up the hill at the start of the track, and they just reprofiled that corner this year after some major incidents. Here they come now through the bus stop chicane for the first time and completing what would be the first lap here of the race. So that is what's going to be the finishing line. They did not start the race there. Here, this corner is La Sauce, and that is where the green flag came out of. Actually, it came out just a little further up here, but definitely going to be fun to watch these drivers race for just another 2 hours of excitement here from Spa.
Yeah, it's a track where anything can happen, so very quickly you got to watch out. We got a battle here. Blake Reynolds taking a look, and Taylor Carroll peeking to the outside.
And Carroll's going to have the inside line going into Lacombe. Reynolds trying to power down and much better on the brakes. Got well clear before they got to the corner. And something to think about is with this being a longer race, yes, you will have more fuel. We go from 50 to 75% fuel, but it's still going to be a two-stopper, and you're probably going to want tires. We'll have to see if any drivers take it.
Yeah, I think that's a big question mark. Some of these cars, depending on how the track rubber's up, you know, the Porsche, for example, I know can go 2 hours on a set of tires. I did for the Spa races. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone does take tires, or if everyone tries to, you know, go the whole distance of the race on one set.
So we've got one driver that's back, is not on the track unless Seth Rawls. Something must have happened to him after the start of the race, so he has dropped out of the event. I'm not sure if something happened to him. I know that Nick Simone did have to drop from the event because of his internet. So unfortunately down to 18 cars already. William Dunbar, he had an incident, so he is well behind the pack as well. This is a pretty close battle. This is between Brokaw and I believe that's Marwan Mafta in front. Yes, it is.
Yeah, we missed it early in lap one. Kieran Forrest got around, and so did Seth Rawls early in the race. And Seth hit the inside wall. I think it was before penultimate corner, and Kieran was pretty much just lame duck on the track. Thankfully, didn't get hit.
So Big Dog down into the 17th spot for now. These three cars. Brokaw in the sandwich of Marwan Mofta and Brian Son there in the Penguin RC car, and have to thank him, his company, Penguin RC, for their sponsorship of this series. Wouldn't be possible without them. So thanks to them for helping put this great series on. As we continue to work our way around now, completing lap number 3 of approximately 53. Depends on if we have a caution, how many we see, and just what the overall pace turns out to be. But still, Rab out in front, then Kingsbury and Lambert. They're all spread apart by a couple tenths of a second here. Kingsbury closing up. Let's go ahead and actually jump up there, because that might be one of the closer battles on track.
It is, but don't look now. Blake Reynolds just ran the fastest lap of the race, so, we said he was struggling for speed, but looks like he's doing okay right now.
You have 2:16.947, 3/1000th of a second faster than Ray Kingsbury. So let's see what has happened here. I think we might have it. Let me go back and see if we have a replay here of the Kieran Forrest crash. So this is him in the 52. Oh, yep, just lost it there coming towards the bus stop chicane. That was through Blanchemont. They lost on exit of, and wow, that was close for just about everybody.
Yeah, and then you see Seth Rawls there in the background, also lost it, same exact spot, pretty much almost in sync.
Yeah, probably. I think he just reacted to the smoke, and unfortunately his car just snapped oversteered on him. So that's what happened to him. Unfortunately, that ended his race. So he is done for the day, and you hate to see it so early in such a long event.
Side by side, Blake Reynolds gets the move done for 5th place on Kevin Fanning. Just about loses the rear end. Keeps it under him, but very close call for Blake Reynolds.
Had some issues with our camera switching, locking up for just a moment. That's why we got stuck on the beautiful scenic cam here at Spa, but back to live picture. Sarah Rab leading this train. This is 1st through 6th, third through 6th. Kingsbury and Rab are about a second out in front. It's been interesting watching the lead for Sarah Rab yo-yo a little bit. It was up to about 0.8 of a second, then dropped down to 0.3, then now it's up to about a second. Just funny to see how drivers over their lap times can gain or lose time. It's currently the fastest lap was set by Sarah Rab once again. She got her fastest lap back. 2:16.836 was her fastest lap time so far.
Yeah. My big question is, do we make an early pit stop right when you get in the fuel window here, or do you bank on a caution? What's the right strategy here?
Man, I don't know what the fuel window is. It all
it's
depends.
About 45 minutes.
Yeah, and it just depends on how it times out. It's going to be a 2-stop, and then at some point I think you're just going to be praying for a caution. Maybe try to stretch things out a little bit further, but overall, I think that you just run till you're empty, and then maybe you try to pull some strategy on your second stop. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe just see what happens here as we get further and further into the race.
Yeah, and then also, keeping in mind cautions. If you top off your tank, that's less fuel you got to put in when you're in the green. So I think it'll be really dependent on if we see an early first caution. That's going to signal that there might be another one throughout the race. So
this is still watching Blake Reynolds trying to catch back up to Cody Crosgrove, about a 0.8 of a second up the road. You see the gap there, and Blake has been working his way through the field. I think he started down in the 7th spot, up to the drop of the green flag, and he's just slowly eking into that lead. But I don't know how hard he's going to be pushing this early on in the event.
Yeah, he's up 3 spots from 8th. So pretty good gains. That top half of the field there is pretty close in speed. So, and he's keeping pace with Ray and Sarah for the most part, and Brandon. It'll be interesting to see if he's got his car set up for the long run. It's very well
It's
possible.
Yeah, that's one of those things about this track as well, though. So you can catch up to somebody, even just on pace alone. You can catch up, but there's still not many terrific passing zones. Of course, you can try to set something up to go through a Rouge or maybe through Lacombe, but other than that, there's only one or two decent passing zones. They're just so difficult to pass in a lot of corners here.
He's got the run on Cody Crossgrove here. He's going to make this one probably look pretty easy because he's got a head of steam.
And down the Kemmel Straight they come. And he's going to be on the inside. We've seen him outbrake a couple of drivers into the corner before. He doesn't need to here. He's already clear. Cosgrove thought about the crossover, did not do it. And he tucks in line. That's Blake Reynolds up to P4.
Still plenty of time left in this race, only 10 minutes down, so he's making very good progress. And it's hard to tell what his lap time was because he got ticked there for an off track. But you know, if you're not getting your laps counted here, that's actually a good thing because in NASA there are no off-track limits.
Yeah, and the thing about that as well is those 1Xs do count. Not as much as, say, contact or a spin, but they do count towards the overall incident limit. Say in the real world, that's an example of dragging, dirt onto the track or something along those lines. So we'll say that there might be too much debris on the track and brings out a safety car, but overall, just right now, just trying to run as many clean laps as you possibly can. Something's happened to Peter Houston, though. I think he just lost the back end. We'll see if we can't go back and take a look. Try to figure out where this is on the track. Lefania, I think, is where that is. So left-right flick, just lost the back end, but didn't hit anything. Nobody collected in that one. Just maybe a 2X for that, and he's back on his way.
And of course, Peter trying a new car every week, so he's trying to learn the kinks of these cars. So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks about the Lambo.
Yeah, he's picked a different car just about every week, and he's had a good story every time doing it, so he's out here in the Lambo switching it up once again. I think the biggest pain in the butt for making your car switch every week isn't that you're not getting points, but it's that you got to make a new paint job every time.
Yeah, that probably is a little frustrating. But at the same time, you get to figure out what car works the best, and you also get to try that for next season. You figure out which one's best and try that one next season. So it's not a bad idea, but in practicality, right, you could also just use public racing for that purpose.
Yeah, so right now, Sarah Rad leads, stabilizing just about 3/4 of a second, as it has been for the last little while. Just about everybody's spread out for the time being, though. Except for, let's go up here. This is Navarre Luce on the back of Taylor Carroll. There, Carroll in the 10, Luce in the 96. And just trying to have some fun out there with these guys. We'll watch this battle for a little bit and see if he's able to catch up. Because I know Carroll has shown some pace, but seems to be struggling a little bit here today.
He does, and he qualified stronger than he's shown in the race. He's 7th, and I guess he stayed 7th. And we got Christian Oster around right now, it looks like.
Yeah, so he's going to lose a spot there. We'll take another look and see. Can't figure out. And that's at Brussels Corner, I think, is where that was. Yeah, that was out of Lacombe and just, lost the back end there. That banking to that corner, that hill, it is downhill, so the car does want to wash out, but the banking tries to help you. Thankfully, though, didn't hit anything, just a little bit of an off track. And is that nose look a little crushed into you?
Yeah, it is, and I think he had an incident because he was way further up in the field earlier in the race, so I'm not sure if he had contact with another car or if he had a contact do something happening, but he hasn't really ran many slow laps. I mean, 2:18s, nothing out of the ordinary. Looks like it might have happened on lap 1 because on lap 2 he already had the damage.
So we'll switch back to this battle between Carroll and Luce. So we continue just to work our way around, and it's going to be a long race, so we'll try to come up with some more things to talk about. What are your thoughts been so far this season overall, though, Matt?
Yeah, I think the racing's been really good this season. This track's, gets a little spread out because it's a European circuit, and they're a little longer, a little more technical sometimes. So I think this track a little more spread out than we'd like to see, but racing's still been pretty good, and I think the strategy is going to come into effect.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one, especially just because of the added length and the strategy of the second pit stop, the cautions, everything like that. Unfortunately, about 20 cars in the field. I would have hoped for a little more, but still, the overall not bad. But yeah, I mean, 15 minutes into the race. How is it only 15 minutes? I feel like we've been watching this for about an hour now.
Yeah, it just definitely feels a little longer than 15 minutes, but I think that's just the nature of Spa. Laps are really long, and it feels like you're doing a lot more, but you're not. But yeah, I think this season we've seen a very consistent driver base of 20-ish drivers on average, and I think that's good to see for the series. That's a group of drivers that's committed for the season, it looks like. In past years, we've seen a lot of fluctuation in that, and I think, obviously, besides season one was fantastic, where we had a lot of cars. I think it was like an average of like 30 to 40 every race in the GTEs. So I wish we can get back to that because that was a lot of fun. But if we have GT racing moving away from GTEs to GT3s, your clientele kind of changes. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe we even go back to GTEs for a season. I wouldn't mind that personally.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I know that we had some guys that were very adamant about switching to GT3s, or they only wanted to run the GT3s. And once we made the switch, the guys that loved the GT3 stayed, and those that didn't, some of them stuck around, but some of them also kind of faded off into other series.
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I like both cars. I love the Porsche GT3. It's just a nice handling car. Do I like it more than, say, the Corvette or even the Ford GT? Hard to say. Those cars had a lot of really fun characteristics, especially the Corvette. It was real good car on a slow speed track. Like, just super agile, super good.
Yeah, that's just gonna be interesting to watch because I think that we are gonna wait and see. I'm not sure if we are doing the championship series once again during season 2, or if we are gonna just kind of take a break and come back with sports cars in the fall. Still kind of have that part of the schedule to be determined, but we will have Rallycross year-round like always. Those guys always put on a show. I think we're going to Crandon next week.
Yes, it'll be Crandon next week. One of my favorites. I think it's the best track in the circuit. You're like, Rallycross at Crandon, what? But it's one of those races that we run, and we run damage, with the reset mode, so it works out. But Crandon's a fun track, especially with anything off-road. And then obviously, it's just going to be one of those crazy ones with that land rush start. And I've made the final a few times there and just gotten taken out in the start, and that's been sad. But just the nature of racing there, and it's good fun though. Like I've had 3 really good rounds there where just you didn't finish well, but like you still had like the time of your life because it was just you were battling the whole race.
Yeah, definitely. With the different style of track makes it very interesting, and I love watching the races there. Maybe I'll run it one of these days. Who knows? I have registered for the season. I have yet to make my debut here in 2022. Maybe I'll just kind of show up for my annual Sonoma appearance and call it quits.
Well, there is a Matt Kingsbury prepared VW Beetles laying in my garage, so you can have the race-winning car from a season or 2 ago.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
Try not to crash it.
I'm very good at doing that. I'll probably do that a couple of times.
Yeah, and we were talking about the IndyCar Championship, right? So that, I believe, will be happening right after the sports car series concludes in the summer. I think it's going to be maybe a short break, but I think it's going to run kind of by itself for a little bit, and then maybe sports car will join, or RX will join, halfway through the season. But what I heard was it was planned right after this sports car season.
Yeah, we kind of stretched ourselves a little too thin last season around because, I mean, between three seasons going on simultaneously and only one of me to do the broadcast, I was dead by the time that Thursday night rolled around. So thankfully, we're gonna stretch things out a little bit and try to get some more year-round racing in, which I am a-okay with. Of course, had a week off a couple weeks ago. That was nice, and now that we've got Victor taking over for Rallycross on Mondays, just lightens the load for everybody, kind of getting the loads spread out. And that series that you're actually driving in on Mondays, I mean, got some good competition in there.
Yeah, I mean, the driver counts are insane, too. Like, RX, you're thinking, oh, probably like 15, 16 cars. But no, we have 32 cars usually
We have
every
to
race.
have
And yeah,
pre-qualifying to narrow down the
pre-qualifying.
field. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a rough season for me. I think I've had the pace to make the final every race. Unfortunately, just things have gotten in the way. Usually other cars, deciding that they don't want to let me apparently get into a top 10 position, but it is what it is.
I think it's more of that you get into their way.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, if you're in front of them and they hit you from behind, yeah.
Yeah, that's been mostly what's happened this season, unfortunately. I think I've had one where it was a car that hadn't jokered, and I was lapping him, and he just wouldn't get out of my way, and I tried to make a move. He was really off the pace, and I got into him. That cost me a spot at Charlotte, and then this last week at Lucas Oil, just there was a wreck in front of me, and then I hit someone, and yeah, I think that was the heat race, and I had to start the back for the LCQ, and we were fast enough to make it again. Fortunately, got slight damage in the oval, just another wreck in front of me, and went to go take the Joker and just tore off the right side of the car. So that was unfortunate, but also partially my fault.
Yeah, and I think that there have been discussions about narrowing down those fields, because right now, having, was it 12 cars or 10? 12 cars in the heats definitely
I think
makes it difficult.
Yeah, it varies, but there's 3 heats and it's 32, so it's like at least 10 to 11.
Yeah.
And I just think it's too much, and it creates a lot of carnage. I mean, I think having 12 in the final is fine. I love giving those 2 extra cars an opportunity, but I think we should be going to a 4 heat format. 8 transfer from the heats, 2 from each one. Then you still have your 2 LCQs. Nothing changes there, and you can just do 2 drivers rather than 3 transferring from the LCQs. I think it'll make it a lot less chaotic, and just spread out and balance the fields a little better. Because if you look at what happened at Lucas Oil, our heat race had 6 drivers that normally make the final, and that was kind of insane. And that was partially because some people had penalties, but just the way with 3 also it divides the LCQs. I've noticed that one of them always gets a little more stacked than the other, so it'll be good to see if we can make that change happen, going forward.
What they need to do is make a session or a series for people that are really slow on the dirt, like myself. Maybe throw us out there in a Skippy or something.
Maybe, but I think our RX league is the most competitive out there. I think the only place you're gonna find more competitive racing is the World Championship Series, and it's something that NASA itself should be proud of. But that's probably enough talking about the other series. We should probably focus on some of the racing going on here. Just to update. Ray Kingsbury and Sarah, maintaining the status quo, kind of trading back and forth lap times. Brandon Lambert keeping pretty good pace with those 2 actually. A little slower, but not much. But he's got Blake Reynolds right behind him right now, and he's looking pretty hungry.
Speaking of hungry, I had some Taco Bell for lunch today, and that stuff was delicious, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I was hungry after work, and I just had to. But Blake, he's charged his way up through the field, 8th to 4th, looking for 3rd. He's gonna have the opportunity here as they come towards Eau Rouge and Radion. And you just see him hammer those curves. And you really want to keep it flat, because it takes some time for the engine to spool up. Very defensive there from Lambert, but the run, Blake is able to keep the car flat, keep the engine, just the pedal to the metal the entire time up through that corner. And what that does is it just gives you a huge run down the straightaway. There you see Reynolds getting Lambert cleared, and then Lambert immediately just flashes lights. I don't know if that's a go get him or screw you, that was my podium.
probably a little both. I know in Brandon it was probably a good luck type thing. He probably was happy enough he held him off for that long. And also, one of our commentators, thank you very much, Steven, for letting us know how to say Navarre's last name. So it's actually Navarre Loose is what he says it is. So thank you for that.
No, it's gonna be Luce the rest of the year because I've already said it to Navarre Loose. Okay. Maybe that explains why his car is always so oversteery.
Maybe. We got a car down pit lane. It looks like Big Dog Kieran Forrest. A little damage to that car. Not sure if that's the reason why he's down, but could be within the fuel window and maybe just realizes he wants to get that thing repaired. And yeah, so interesting to see him down.
Yeah, so there you see those blue cones. That is, I thought that would be at pit eggs. No, where is he at in pit lane now? Because this is a very long pit road. It
So I
comes
think
around the final corner.
they're running the endurance pit lane. So
That's
it's the
right.
it's the GP pit lane plus that old school pit lane.
That's
It's
why I
the
was
entire
confused.
thing. So that's, oh man, that's long. I mean, I think we would have been all right having just, that. I can't know if that's not the GP pit lane, but either one would have worked, I think.
Yeah, 57 seconds down pit lane before he even got to his pit stall.
Though, if there was a fuel strategy in this, I think at this track with that pit lane, that would have been interesting. Could have made a fuel option out of this race. Might still, you never know. If we get a caution, might put someone on the edge of the window. Maybe they can fuel save and not take that pit stop and win the race.
And this is your leader going by, Sarah Rab, putting the big dog one lap down. He is well behind the next car. This is a long stop as well. I think he might have gotten maybe a meatball flag at some point.
Yeah, I did note some damage on his car. Yeah, so maybe possibly something there. There was also a change a few laps ago. Kevin Fanning got passed by, what was it? Cody Carrasco got passed by Kevin Fanning. So Fanning is up a spot. I think it was an error on Cody's part somewhere in the back half of the track, it looks like.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on this battle because this is Fanning, Crosgrove, and Carroll all lined up together. And there you saw Crosgrove, all 4 tires outside the white line. That's going to be another 1X added to the caution counter. Will we see one? We don't know. Nobody does. But still turning laps out there.
Tell you one thing, if I was out there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably worth 100 incidents because I run the limits to the track every single time I get a chance. I remember at Red Bull Ring, Kieran yelled at me for getting, I think it was like close to 100 incidents, and he was like, "How did you manage that?" And I was like, "Well, I was 2 tires on the track the whole time." And he was like, "I'm going to check," and I was like, "But be my guest."
I say, as long as you're not getting slow down penalties, I mean.
Yeah, he went and checked, and guess what? I was 2 tires on the surface that they define as race surface at all times, and he was shocked I could pick up that many. But that's what you're supposed to do as a racing driver. You're supposed to go off track. You're supposed to extend the track limits. You want to use up as much of the racing line as possible. So I was doing, my best job. And it looks like Cody just came over the radio and told Taylor to go out and buy. It sounds like he's not too happy with his car right now.
He just had a big wiggle there. And there you see Carroll to the inside, down to the bus stop. Yeah, he's got maybe some splitter damage from somewhere. I'm not entirely sure on that, but yeah, he
Looks
was
pretty clean to me.
Yeah, he was wiggling though just a little bit through like home, so have to see where.
Yeah, it could just be bad balance on the tires right now. Maybe he burned them off. Maybe they just got the car wrong. Who knows? I mean, Brandon Lambert looks pretty good. I don't see much of a stroke from him, and he's running very nice lap times, 2:17 flat that last lap. So, actually, I think he was the fastest car on the track.
Yeah, last time by the stripe, he was. I think.
Yeah, those top 4 are all running within like half a tenth of each other, so pretty competitive.
I'll say, yeah, Sarah Rav ran a 2:17.059, then an 0:98 for Kingsbury, 0:85 for Reynolds, and 0:12 for Brandon Lambert. So all of them, all within the same tenth of a second. Nobody's gaining any ground in that group.
Yeah, I think Brandon Lambert here, is definitely, if Reynolds runs faster, right, maybe he can tag on, get the draft. He's got to be perfect here, but he could possibly use that to his advantage. And, I've heard good things about the Porsche and its tire wear, so, maybe with Brandon behind the wheel there, able to, maximize that tire wear, and we might see that Ferrari make its way to the front.
So Still Rab, Kingsbury, Reynolds, your top three, and all of them spread out by a couple seconds. This is the closest battle on track at the moment between Carroll and Crosgrove. But I don't think Crosgrove's going to put too much of a fight. We were just talking about him and his balance issues. Jump a little further back here. This is Tim Brokaw trying to catch back up to Peter Houston for the 11th spot. It's down in under a second, but for the time being, just looks like Brokaw not able to gain too much ground.
Yeah, something I just noticed, by the way, Taylor Carroll has Pro on his car, but he's listed in the AM class points. So not sure if he is a Pro or an AM, but just one of those things I just noticed.
I thought that he was a Pro, but I could be wrong.
Well, he's listed as second in the AM class points, and he was definitely an amateur last season. He might have got promoted though.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
But it's just one of those things I noticed.
Yeah, maybe he's just running the wrong colors. We don't know.
Who knows?
We make it up as we go here. This is the NASA way.
Yeah, I think so far so good too. No caution yet, so if we don't see one soon, I don't think we're gonna see one until we're maybe gonna see one for the whole race if we don't see it in the next half hour, because car count could only get lower, So interesting either way. Fuel window I think is open from here, I want to say. So if we could start seeing some guys pit, maybe someone that, well, I don't think anyone's really stuck in traffic right now, but you might see someone that's not happy with the balance of their car come down pit early. Either if you need tires at least once throughout the race, maybe they're going to take them now, reset that balance of that car. Get the tires cooled off, get them changed, whatever. Get the fuel rebalanced and try to make up some time that way.
Now, I'm not the most familiar with these cars. Are you able to make anything like maybe a wing adjustment or something when you're on pit lane, or is that fixed once the race starts?
I think the wing has to stay the same, but you can make anti-roll bar changes while you're out on track. You can make traction wheel changes. You can make pressure adjustments. I don't think you could change the wing. I know that maybe the GTEs you could, but definitely not in these cars.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, so you're kind of limited, I guess, on your adjustments, but tire pressures, you might try to do something with those and see what you can figure out. But yeah, you basically got one shot at a tire change because they take so long in these cars.
Yeah, brake balance is also something you can change. I know I used to do that a little bit to help. If I was getting oversteer, I would just move the brakes forward just to generate more heat on the front. Basically taking heat out of the rear tires in a straight line brake. Just to get it to cool off a little. And, that's not the best thing to do for pace, but if it helps reduce, your chance of spinning out, sometimes it's worth it.
So continuing to work our way now past the half-hour mark, still no takers down pit road as we believe that the window should be open. Big Dog Forrest, the only one that has pit. He pit a couple of laps ago. So he pit 3 laps ago now. So he's not having the best time of it, but he's still out there having a good time.
Yeah, currently watching one of your biggest battles on track, other than your first and second place battle, which is down to about second and a half. Houston and Mafta, San, that group there is pretty much your closest battle. As Marwan's actually gotten really close to Brian San, he's looking to size up a move here for 9th place. Also, Brandon Lambert back around Blake Reynolds for 3rd place. Looks like a mistake from Reynolds. Let Lambert have that spot back.
Yeah, last lap Reynolds was 0.4 of a second off of his typical pace, so definitely something caused him to give up just a little bit of time. So he's still within striking distance, no damage to the car, but he is right there. Another actually pretty close battle here. This is Smith, Saponsky, and Jeffrey all nose to tail.
Yeah, those guys hanging out towards the back of the field, but still putting on a good race and having a lot of fun, so hats off to them.
And that's one of the biggest things. Yes, you might not be having the best time. You might be pretty far, down in the running order. But if you got somebody to race around, you're not just hot lapping for 2 hours. It definitely makes it at least a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and I found out, I think one of those guys, I can't remember who it was, only lives like 10 minutes from me, so pretty interesting, that we have a good collection of guys from our state racing in this league now. Oh, Keith Jeffries, as you're talking about him, has run off the track there in the foreground of that shot. Not sure what happened there.
And something... We got a couple takers now down pit road. That's
Oh,
Brian Son and Marwan Mafta both down to the pit lane.
Yeah, I'm big battle. Blake Reynolds telling Brandon Lambert, whatever you can do, I can do better, as he sizes up the move in the exact same way. We'll see if he can get it done.
Now, do you see that helmet that Blake's wearing? I think you might get a kick out of that one.
Yeah, he's got the Rebel Alliance helmet on. Big fan of it. Blake's also a huge Star Wars fan. When we were teammates back in the day.
Nerd.
We used to talk about Star Wars a little bit.
Yeah, we were talking about it just before the race started as well. Son and Mafta still down pit road. Still not to their box, though. This is how long this pit lane is. Have to see what their stop time is going to be.
One thing I noticed from Blake Reynolds is he is abusing track limits now. He is taking every single advantage he gets. He's not running, 4 tires off or anything like that, but he is picking up the dirt wherever he can.
Oh, for sure. He continues to try to work back from his mistake. He wasn't the greatest in qualifying, but slowly but surely his lap times are improving. He is now up into 3rd, started 8th, and you see the gap that he has already put on Brandon Lambert.
Still not over, though. If the top 2 have tire issues, due to tire wear, or have to change tires, that opens the door for Blake, especially if he managed to maximize tire wear capabilities in this car.
Yeah, this is back to Saponsky and Smith. A couple other battles going on right now. We'll jump up here to Kevin Fanning trying to hunt down Taylor Carroll. Cody Crosgrove has dipped about 4 seconds back from these guys, so I'm not sure if maybe his tires fell off or if something happened to his car or what, but he's definitely not having a great time out there.
Yeah, it can be a little difficult when you're having struggles. Lambert's still hanging on to the back of Blake Reynolds' car. Not close enough to make the move this time around, but still close enough possibly to get something done in a few laps. And as I say that, he's got the run going down into, turn 3. But he thinks better of it as they pass Marwan Mafta as he exits the pit lane.
So now into Lacombe. And now the right-hander Amalmadi. Down towards the 180-degree turn of Brussels. Down the hill. A little bit of camber to it as well. Head to the double left-hander known as double gauche. And they continue to just hammer these laps on down. As Lambert's still trying to find a way to get back by Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, we saw there Blake Reynolds pushing the car all the way to the grasscrete. He's definitely using all the track surface available to him, all the grip. He's desperate to close that gap, try to, maintain his points lead. We saw him wiggle a little bit right there. He's pushing this car to its max.
If you don't want somebody to run somewhere, you shouldn't pave it, is what I always say.
Agreed.
And these guys are definitely making note of that. There you see almost into the gravel for Lambert, still trying to hunt down Brandon Lambert. Or Blake Reynolds. Yeah, he's trying to hunt down himself. That's how good he is.
Yeah, we watched that car. It looks like that Ferrari's got a little bit of a straight line advantage. Not sure. Like right there, you can see he's closing. So not sure if that's because of how good the car is or if he's got less wing. No idea, but it looks like he's able to get through some of those higher speed areas a little faster and carry that at corner exit speed a little bit better in certain spots.
Yeah. Audi, Mercedes, Ferrari, Porsche, your top 5. That just shows the balance of these cars. The BOP is just phenomenal between them all as they now work through La Sauce and up towards Eau Rouge. This is where Reynolds has been so good compared to everybody else. He's just able to keep the throttle wide open as he goes up the hill. And Lambert not able to do the same. Can he do it this time? No, he's going to lose even more ground. As I think we've got some more takers down pit road. Is that Crosgrove down? Something happened. No, Cody Crosgrove has disconnected from the race. Something has happened to Cody Crosgrove. So unfortunately, he's going to have to try to get that sorted out and try to join back in. But it's not the first time that's happened to him recently, so hopefully he gets something sorted out there.
Yeah, he's been having issues recently with that, and you know, still Lambert closing in on Blake Reynolds there, able to maintain the speed through the corners a little bit better, maybe a little better on the brakes, not quite sure, but he's able to close the gap in the first sector of the track every single time.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go on board here with Lambert for a second and just watch how the car takes to these hills. It's a very twisty, windy track, but it also has a lot of elevation to it as they now go through this long, just so many fantastic corners on this track where you can just get some flow going now down into Campus Corner. And you just see he's able to catch up a little bit here, but he's going to lose it then during the high-speed portion of the track.
Actually, I think he gains through the high-speed portion of the track is what I've been noticing. You can see he's gaining right here a little bit. It's hard to see it, but he is gaining, and then after the kink, he's going to gain another car length or two.
This corner's so hard to be wide open on the throttle. You need to be, though, through Blanchimont to try to make as much ground as you can. You see he's catching up and gets even more ground there. And then Blake Reynolds to the pits.
Yeah, I mean, something to note, Ferrari does get one of the better fuel mileages in this field, so
and Kingsbury
Blake Reynolds
as well.
should be able to jump him in the pit lane possibly. We see Raid come down also. Rab and Lambert stay out, and that's a really good lap time by Brandon Lambert at that time by 2:16.877. So definitely a great lap there. If he can match the in-lap time, might be able to peep Blake Reynolds for the position.
Yeah, Brandon Lambert, that's his fastest lap of the race, 2:16.878. That's his fastest.
A lot of the field spinning.
A couple tenths, yeah.
Kevin Fanning down. In addition to Blake Reynolds and Ray Kingsbury, Ray hasn't even got to his box yet. That's how long this pit lane is.
Yeah, Navarre Luce and Brokaw down as well.
And Christian Oast just came down.
Kingsbury finally to his box. There you see him starting with the very first pit stall. And he's able to drive through that safety car. That would be very uncomfortable to try to make it out your box cleanly.
Yeah, a little tight. Ooh. Oh, that's Cody Crosgrove coming back into the picture there. But looks like all the Porsches are still out on the track. We see a few more diving down now. Dan Sponsky, William Dunbar come down pit lane. So the whole field pretty much cycling through. Keith Jeffrey stays out for another lap.
And there you saw that was Cody Crosgrove exiting the pits. He just rejoined the session. He is down into the last spot, but he is now one lap down overall, though. Still Sarah Rab now the lead 10 seconds, but yet to make her pit stop.
I think the only saving grace there for Cody Crosgrove is everyone pitted when he lost connection, so he lost a lot less time because his car probably got serviced too.
Yeah, you would have had to take the tow, but yeah, you're right. That's probably the right time to do it. Rab now around the final corner and straight into the pits. So now we're going to have to watch the blend and see where she comes out. She was about a second and a half or so in front of Ray Kingsbury, and there you see Brandon Lambert doing the same thing. He's going to come down pit lane. Taylor Carroll follows suit. Peter Houston now will have got about 10 or so seconds before he gets to this corner. And there's Brian Son, you see right in front of him. He is one lap down the 16th position. He is already taking his pit stop. So top three currently on pit lane. Does Peter Houston follow suit? Yes, he does. So you were right, just shy of 45 minutes is the pit window here. You're able to make it on one more stop from here to the end without any issues. So Keith Jeffrey, the final car, yet to make their pit stop.
Yeah, definitely a one more stop race. But real question is, safety car. Are we going to see it? Still an hour and 15 left in this 2-hour race, so we're not quite halfway. Still a good chance for one to be thrown.
Just saw a note pop up. William Dunbar has disconnected from the session, so his day is done. Here comes Keith Jeffrey to the pit. Sarah Rabb now in her pit box. Let's take a look and see where Ray Kingsbury is. And Ray Kingsbury actually lost a lot of time. Oh, he must have taken tires. Kingsbury's stop was 30 or so, about 28 seconds longer than Kevin Fanning's when he was in his box. So Kingsbury's lost 2 spots there on pit road. The only driver in the top 10 that took tires on their stop. So Sarah Rabb, she is taking tires. You see her up on the jacks as well. And now
that was something I questioned about the Audis, because I said I wasn't sure if they could go the distance on the tires, and whereas, you know, the Ferrari is a car that's great in the tires. So we'll be interested to see if you know, and Reynolds hasn't taken tires either. So yeah, that was the big thing I questioned, whether they can do the whole race without tires. So if they're taking them now, it could be because they recognize that the track isn't as rubbered up, and they need to do it early, and maybe they don't want to do it under a caution, because if you do it under a caution, guess what? You're going to lose that track position.
yeah, the gap, though, from Sarah Rabb back to Ray Kingsbury is up by 3.5 seconds. So that is... Sarah was able to put down even more time between them. But right now, Blake Reynolds out by over 8 seconds to Brandon Lambert. But still, I mean, those pit times definitely adds an extra 30 seconds or so to your time if you need tires. So hopefully that's just them getting their tires out of the way. They won't need to take it the rest of the race.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? If we get a caution, like I said, I think if we get a caution, everyone's going to take tires. You don't want to be stuck with old tires. And that could be, you know, them saying, let's get our tires done early, because if we get a caution, everyone's going to take them. We don't want to be too disadvantaged here with, you know, an old set. We would rather have the track position. You know, that's a possibility. The other possibility is, if it stays green, these guys don't need tires. And that would be bad for them.
Yeah, so just going to wait and see how this strategy plays out. We'll take a look as they continue to work their way around what their lap times end up turning into. Because the tires definitely have fallen off for the guys that did not take them. But what improvement will you see out of drivers like Rabb and Kingsbury, who did end up taking them?
Yeah, I mean, if it's worth a second a lap, then obviously it's a good change, because they've already run 21 laps. So if it's worth a second a lap from here on out, then great, you've made the right choice. But if it's only worth 0.2, then that's a hard call that you have to make. You know, and obviously if the tires, you know, wear out to a certain degree, they lose significant pace. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how long the good rubber, so to speak, lasts.
Yeah, so we're gonna give it a couple of minutes here to just see, let some fresh lap times trickle in. But yeah, these guys are gonna do everything that they can. If you're Reynolds, use this clean track and try to pull away. If you're Sarah Rabb, use the fresh tires and try to catch up just a little bit. So right now, gap is 18.6. Have to see as we continue on through the lap and as they get more and more laps in, what tires end up meaning for these drivers, because it's pretty cloudy out. Track temp's not going to be going up by too much, if at all. And with the cooler track temp, I don't know how much tires are going to end up playing into things, because you'll get less tire wear from it.
Well, it could cause a little more understeer, so if that's the case, it could actually drastically affect the cars, especially a Mercedes like Blake's. That's well, Mercedes feels like a boat, so it could make that even worse.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, I mean, feels and what it actually does are obviously different. It looks like a very agile car when it's out in track still. You know, you can see it lose pace in a few spots and then pick it up in the straightaways in some spots. But overall, it's a very, you know, nimble car, obviously. But the way it feels when you're driving it is it feels very planted, very tight. And it's, I don't know, for me, it's not a comfortable car to drive. But then again, I like a car that's super loose, like the Porsche, and just drives on the throttle. So
They all feel the same to me. They all crash into the wall too often. I think it's the car's fault and not mine.
yeah, they need a 5-star safety rating from you, right? That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. That's the gap. There is the one straightaway back from first of Blake Reynolds to Brandon Lambert. And just about the whole field after their pit stop, pretty spread out. We'll switch back here to the next, to the closest battle on track, and that's Tim Brokaw trying to catch back up to Peter Houston.
Yeah, they're right there with each other. There's a few battles actually that are pretty close. Another one being Jeffries and Son, but they seem to be splitting apart a little bit. Furthest one up is obviously, like you said, Brokaw and Houston. And interesting to see, who took tires, who didn't. And right now at the front we have Reynolds, Lambert, Fanning, 3 that didn't take tires. So Rab and Kingsbury are going to have to fight around those 2 soon. And I think they gave up a lot of time by not doing that.
Yeah, so last lap for Reynolds, 2:17.3. Last lap for Rab, 2:16.7. Last lap,
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Last lap for Kingsbury, 2:17.2. So Kingsbury didn't gain any time on his, at least on his first lap out, but Rab, on the other hand, she did gain 0.6, so I have to follow her progress, see if she can't continue to make up ground.
Yeah, and who knows if that's just due to tires or if it's just a normal lap for her. It's hard to tell what the difference in tires is, but the track is developing and changing as we race here. That battle seems to be cooling down a little bit between Brokaw and Houston, and the battle at the front between Fanning and Rab, that'll probably be happening pretty soon as she closes in on Kevin, is going to heat up. Blake Reynolds also just about to put a lap down Daniel Saponsky to put him in the first car lap down. I think this will be one of the first cars that's been outright lapped just due to pace. Sorry, not Daniel Saponsky. It's Smith as he comes up on the Porsche and gets the job done. Currently, he's still watching Tim Brokaw as he chases down Peter Houston. And we see Christian Ost in the background dip down into pit lane for pit stop.
Let's go a little. Well, I was just gonna say we'll go back to Crosgrove, Saponsky. But Saponsky's still right there on the back of Kieran Force. He is right there actually, and Crosgrove was right there just a little bit ago as well. He's got some pace, but all 3 of these drivers just trying their best to kind of just continue to log some laps. These guys are the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, Cody Crosgrove timed out, so he didn't even lose a full lap. That's pretty impressive. If he got his service done, then really he lucked out because he's got about 15 seconds until he gets lapped, and he's got significant pace, so he can hold, Blake Reynolds at bay possibly until he gets a caution. That'll put him right back in the race.
When does that caution fly? Will that caution fly? We still have over 1 hour here from Spa, the first ever endurance race from the Penguin RC Sports Car Challenge. And so far, it's been an interesting race. We've had some battles all throughout the field. We've had no major incidents, a couple of single car spins. Unfortunately, Seth Rawls, the big loser, first lap around spun trying to avoid a wreck and nosed it into the wall. Terminal engine damage for the 125. William Dunbar, just through the pit cycle, it felt like just called it quits. So he is done for the day. These are the only 2 drivers out of the race. But overall, a couple drivers still closing in and some close traffic. Let's go up, jump up here a little bit. Looks like Keith Jeffrey and Brian Son, they're battling pretty hard as well.
Yeah, we see that battle going on, and another battle at the front also about to happen with Rab finally catching up to Kevin Fanning within a second now. So the move for third place could be on very shortly. But also, worth remembering, she's got older tires. They are teammates. He might just let her go. Oh, sorry, that's Fanning. They're not teammates, so he's definitely not going to just let her go.
Yeah, so this is the battle that you were just talking about for the podium. Gaining a lot of time, about 4/10 down this straightaway. You see that gap closing. Just a great run out of Radion.
Yeah, and this only puts her, about 18 seconds behind Blake. So if Blake has to take tires, she's easily within striking distance to take the lead back. Or get to Brandon Lambert to make that position, second place overall. So still a lot in control of her race here. A lot obviously outside of her control. I think it really comes down to that caution flag as she's trying to get by Kevin here, just size him up and see, how to quickly and efficiently dispatch of him.
Yeah, once she's clear, what lap times will she be able to put down? She was making up a ton of time down the Kemmel Straight. A lot better on the brakes there. Definitely had to check up for the 144. She is all over that rear wing now.
Yeah, also change for sixth place. It looked like Navarre Luce got I don't know if he got loose, but he's dropped down to seventh, and Peter Houston's up to sixth. So a battle there, but now between Luce and Broco.
So looks like now that pit stops have cycled through, drivers starting to catch back up to one another. Maybe the fuel, having more fuel in the tank, gives some more drivers more comfort compared to others who can just go faster on the lighter tank. Just look how close under braking Rab gets. You see how dark that rubbered in line is getting. Who's going to get the better launch off the corner? So far, no advantage for either driver. Sitting in the slipstream is Rab. Approaching now Eau Rouge. Quick flick to the left, back up the hill to the right. And using so much more racetrack, there was Fanning. Fanning stays defensive down the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, also worth
peek to the inside.
Worth noting, the rubber on the track does, so to speak, make it less abrasive on the tires. And, it does slightly reduce grip, but mostly affects tire wear. So it's possible that as this track rubbers up, that we could see these drivers, possibly stretch those tires to the end. Ponsky just went a lap down from Blake Reynolds as Blake continues to tick off fast laps, and running about 2:17 and below the last few laps.
And by the way, Rab, now that she is dispatched Fanning, already a second clear, so just shows how much she was being held up by him. Ray Kingsbury, the next car, chasing down Fanning. That also took tires. She continues to work her way around. Next closest battle on track is Brokaw and Luce, and they are right behind Peter Houston as well.
Yeah, you said Sarah was getting held up. Makes sense. This new draft model, so to speak, this new aero model they've had on these cars, where they update some of the parameters, means that clean air on these GT3s is a little more important than it used to be.
She's been able to keep her car clean so far. She's struggled with that at times throughout this season already. She appears to be doing a better job of that here. She continues to just try to chase down Brandon Lambert. The question is, will they need to take tires when they get to their stop?
I think if you get a caution, everyone's taking tires just because they don't want to be caught out by the LLM cars, the LLM Audis, uh, being with no tires would give them the obvious advantage. So I think we'll see a response to that.
Yeah, the question I would have is, I guess, if we get a caution here, do you stop and fill up? Because
Absolutely.
you're still not gonna be able to make it to the end.
Well, with only 20 cars, once and everyone's spread out, if the pit lane opens, you might only lose 5 spots. If you were to do that in a green, 5 gallons is about, I don't know, 5 seconds roughly, maybe even more. So the less fuel you got to put into the car in a green, the faster your race is going to be. But it's also worth considering, right? That if you do pit, you lose. If you're Blake Reynolds, you pit, you lose the lead. So if you can't make it, it might not be worth it. But if you can make it, or you're close to making it, you could possibly fuel save.
So still watching this battle for the 7th position between Luce and Brokaw. Further back, we'll take a look at this one again just because it's another decently close battle, but the field pretty well strung out for the time being. This is Jeffrey and Son. But as we cross over the hour mark, we're going to step away, take about a 2-minute break, and be right back. So we'll leave you with some images of some race cars. We'll continue to follow the action, but we'll take a short break and be back here in just a matter of minutes. And back live from Spa here in Belgium. Virtually, at least. I'm definitely not in Belgium at the moment. But anyway, back out here for the endurance event of the Penguin RC Sports Car Challenge. Still yet to see our caution. And Blake Reynolds still with about a 10-second lead. Sarah Rabb not been able to make up any ground. So I definitely feel like that the tire call might not have been the right decision. It just depends on if anybody takes tires at their second stop. Car around. Have to see who that is in just a second.
So Daniel Saponsky was around there.
Yeah.
He did a nice job, though, you know, checking to make sure no one was coming, considering you really can't see from that angle. So good job by him to you know, safely rejoin.
Yeah, using the relative to his advantage and got away without incident there. Maybe just a little damage to his ego and his pride, but looks like Cody Crosgrove down pit road. Who else is that's gonna be his second trip down the lane. Christian Ost, he took his stop and he is actually disconnected from the race.
Yeah, and
his day is done.
That's a little early for Cody to be coming down. So I'm a little, if he got fuel, then he should have been all right. And you know, he went a few laps. So I wonder if did Cody pit early?
No, because he technically, I guess, because of his disconnection.
Well, wasn't it only like a lap or two?
But he did take service during. Oh, this is a very long stop. He's been in his box for 2 minutes now. This definitely isn't just a.
Oh, there's damage.
Yeah.
Right front is caved in on that car. It's hard to actually see it from any other view besides rear chase. So, yeah, something obviously happened there that we didn't catch. It looks like it was lap 26 or 25. So I'll go back and check it out and see what happened. But yeah, he was running with a meatball flag for a few laps there actually. So he had to pit before he got black flag, and they stopped counting his laps.
See, this might be the race or the replay of it. We'll take a look here. He's very slow here. Does he already have that damage?
Oh, he hit the inside wall of turn 1 while trailing Kieran Forrest. So right after the start-finish line, he hit the pit wall basically. And that hairpin, he was coming down into it and just clipped it. And you could barely even tell he hit it, but it annihilated the car.
This is interesting because we'll see. Here, this lap? No. So
It was the start of lap 25.
Sorry for the janky camera work here, but start of lap 25.
Right here. And you'll see he turns in and turns nicely, but he gets the wall right there, and it just destroys the right-hand side of the car.
Take one more look at it because... Wow. And it didn't look like much. Some of it appeared to have been netcode damage, but definitely some impact with the wall there for the driver of the number 28 Complex SimWorks machine. So he needs to work his way around here and have to see. He's back out on track after taking the repairs, but that can't feel good in that car.
No, and Kieran Forrest down penalty a little earlier than I would expect to be able to make it on fuel. It's possible he can make it from here, but he's down right now, and he was the early pitter from earlier, so maybe he came down a little too early.
He either came down too early, or maybe he's hoping to make something up on pit strategy. He is the first car.
Oh, he hit the wall.
1 lap down.
Kieran just killed the wall in the pit lane.
So let's see if we can go back to chase cam. This is a very tricky. I've seen cars hit the inside wall and just wedge themselves here. And you see it tighten up there. Yeah, he just clobbers the left front. I've seen drivers catch both the inside and the outside wall there in an attempt to just try to take it as fast as possible. And unfortunately for Big Dog, came back to bite him that time. So
yeah, I actually find myself breaking
Kingsbury
there.
and Kevin Fanning side by side. That's going to move Kingsbury up to P4. So he is now there, gotten by Fanning. Fanning drops to 5th. Next car back is 20 seconds behind them. That's Peter Houston, currently running in P6. So very well spread out field now.
Yeah, that was a good pass by Ray there, but still waiting on that caution. Still about half the race left to go, so it could happen. Chad, is there any specific rules about the caution? Like, is there a time window when it can't happen? Is it like 30 minutes?
I believe it's the last 10 minutes. I'll have to
That's 10 minutes.
double check the rule book, but I believe it's last 10 or last 15.
I'll go do a little research right now to find out, but it does sound like obviously there is that little bit of time where it can't happen.
And it's interesting, I'm looking at the rule book now. I don't see any mention of the yellow flag procedure here in the rule book, so hopefully they went over it in the driver's briefing. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, very interesting that we don't know about that one, but it's probably somewhere in the information. We're just missing it.
Yeah, I see that the schedule has not been updated since, or the rulebook has not been updated since last season. So, oops, we'll have to get.
That might be the wrong. That might be the wrong link then to the old rulebook, because it doesn't even talk about any of the new points or anything like that for what's it called?
The sprint. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely the old one. So they must have just forgot to link it. I bet if we go to announcements, we can find it. Maybe not. Well, we'll have to ask him to post up the right one. Obviously, some sort of miscommunication there with that.
Yeah. So Lambert's still not losing any time. Rab not able to catch up to P2. He's sitting in third, and I think the biggest thing is, Reb can't make up time. She's actually lost 2 seconds just because of some traffic and whatnot. So the question then turns into, if she does pip the other drivers if they change tires, how much is that going to help her? As there you see Brian Son coming down the pit lane, just outside. So most drivers, I think the longest that somebody went. Their first stop was 44 minutes. So drivers now just outside of that window to make it to the end.
Yeah, worth noting also, Blake Reynolds' pace still hanging on. 2:16.8 last time by. Brandon Lambert 2:17.1. Sarah Rabb 2:16.8. So no advantage really for tires right now on these guys.
Yeah, I think that Rab thought that it was going to help her a little bit more than it did.
I mean, 20 seconds is quite the gap that she still has to make up. So, I mean, unless he starts giving up half a second a lap, it's going to be a pretty hard ask. And even then, she's still given her and Ray have given up more than just 20 seconds. They had quite a lead on Blake Reynolds when they pitted.
That's loose through Blanchimont and trying to make up ground just about half a second behind Peter Houston for the 6th spot. But still not able to do a little wiggle there coming into the bus stop, but still not able to make up any ground. It's been sitting at about 5 or 7/10 of a second between the two of them for the last couple laps. Krauser, by the way, has retired his car from the event, so it was a rough day for him after collecting that inside barrier. So his day is done, down to 15 cars left running.
Yeah, another one out of the race. I saw him dive off earlier. I didn't realize he disconnected. Was Christian Ost. He's out of the race too.
Yeah, so he's going to lock up the 17th position there for Christian.
Yeah, so currently, we've got those bottom 4 cars not running, and also I think Nick Simeone didn't even take the grid because of some sort of internet issue. So 4 cars out of this thing right now. Kieran Forrest still running, but obviously we saw him have a pretty hard impact with the wall, so he's out on track right now. But the car had quite a long pit stop. It was about 4 minutes and 1 second down that time by the pit lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had some sort of an incident or if it was just his pit lane time. that really hurt him because his time in stall was only 59 seconds. So it wasn't too much longer than anybody who would have taken just tires. So, or fuel and tires, I should say.
Something happened to Tim Brokaw because he has dropped back to, I think, 12th place right now. So not sure what happened there, but ticker still hasn't updated.
I'm still showing him in the 7th position, 4 seconds back.
Yeah, that or either, I didn't think Brian Sun was lapped yet, but perhaps due to the tire changes,
Correct. Brian
they've
Stone is
froze.
one
Yeah,
lap
okay.
down.
So that was I didn't catch that part, but it looks like part of our field is struggling a little more than the others, obviously.
And that was an
That was close.
interesting moment there. Yeah, that was, I think, Daniel Saponsky it was. That was trying to let him go in the bus stop, and that's not the best place to want to do that.
No, but thankfully Navarre did a nice job to see it coming and was able to dodge it.
Yeah, because you want to use all that racetrack on entry or into the first part of that bus stop chicane, but now continuing. No harm, no foul, just a little bit of a time loss there for Luce, about now 1.7, lost about a second in that exchange. But the gap for the car in front of Peter Houston, 18 seconds up the road to Kevin Fanning. So large gap there, and some larger gaps all through this field.
Yeah, and we look at the top four, and still the same thing. Tire wear not making an impact yet. Blake Reynolds ran a 2:16.599, so definitely his fastest lap of the race. But it looks like there was probably an incident lap because it's not highlighted red. So, you know, him, and then Brandon Lambert 1:17.0 last time by. You know, Sarah and Ray 16.5, 16.6. So this tire is not really paying dividends for them yet, and it's hard to see if they ever will.
The fuel window to the end is open from here. Will anybody decide to blink first, and who will it be? A couple of drivers that have taken their second stops. Those are Brian Son and Kieran Forrest. Both of them were a lap down before they made their stop.
I'll Blake Reynolds, I'm coming down right now, because if you come down right now and you get a caution, you're going to cycle right to the front. If you don't plan on taking tires, the earlier you come, the better.
I agree, and that's, I think, you know, if you do, we've seen him do that over in the MTech series. They didn't want to get caught out by a late race caution, so they pit early, but the caution never came. They were able to make up some time from it, but still, this is actually a battle for position, by the way. This is for 12. This is Son and Saponsky. Son in that Penguin RC machine. He gets the move done and up to P12. And continues on here from Spa in that Audi. So that move is now done. And I think Saponsky just kind of maybe a little unnerved after that move that he had a little bit ago with Navarre Luce.
Yeah, perhaps, you know, you lose focus in one of these long races. It could take you a minute or two to get back, especially with how fatigued you are after running an hour 20.
And even,
Especially at
I say, even when I've done endurance races, I've usually only taken singles. Maybe I've done a stint, a half stint at one point, or a stint and a half, I should say, because of the way that the fuel strategy, pit strategy worked out. But when you get into these longer 2-3 hour races, what does that do to you physically? And what does that take out of you, both mentally and physically?
Yeah, so I mean, like MTech was one of those ones where I think I would run like 3 stints in a row, depending on how many drivers are fielding that car that day. And yeah, so I ran like three stints at Silverstone, and honestly, it's not a big deal because you're in the rhythm, but there are times when you start to be like, okay, I'm getting tired, and it's time to get out of the car. So usually my limit's somewhere around 2 hours. I can do 3 if I have to. It's like, you know, it is what it is. Anything past 3 for me is like just pulling teeth. It's like, all right, if I gotta do 4, I guess I'll do it. But you know, I start to fade. I know that for a fact. It's, you start losing focus. Your eyes, you know, have been trained so long on that screen. You just need a mental break, um, especially after running for that long, because you've been doing the same thing over and over. You know, your hands start to get a little cramped. Your feet, you know, all these little things. You just need to get out and stretch. So I think race car drivers will tell you the same thing. They don't really want to drive, you know, more than 3 or 4 hours at a time either.
Now, could you imagine the early days of the Indy 500 where the race is 6 hours, and after a certain, I think it was after maybe the 1930s, they didn't take relief drivers, and you know, it's still a 5-hour race.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. It must have been, and those cars definitely didn't have AC, you know, albeit they were pretty
Open
much open
cockpit,
cockpit.
yeah.
But still, you know, think about NASCAR. You got you know, not necessarily the Daytona 500, but like the Darlington race, Coke 600.
Whew.
You know, even today the Coke 600 is a super long race, and yeah, I mean, how many hours does that even take? It's like 3 or 4.
It was about 4, yeah, because of all the
So,
cautions and everything.
and you know, that's a stock car, and those things get super hot. So, you know, major respect to those guys that do, you know, that in the Cup Series, because that's not easy. Or you know, Darlington's one of those ones where, is that a 500-mile race even?
Yes.
So that race to me is the most grueling, because that track is so tricky for an oval. You know, turn 1, 2, that is super hard. 3 and 4 is, yeah, it's so unique too. It's just, yeah, it's one of those races where it definitely wears you out, and you know, those two on the NASCAR calendar being two of the harder ones.
Yeah, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't think about. Is, you know, yeah, you're just playing a video game, but you still have the wheel giving you the force feedback, and you still are kind of feeling everything. You want to have enough pressure and enough feedback in the wheel to kind of take it out of you, so you can actually feel everything. So by the end of the race, you definitely can feel it in your arms, depending on how high you've got your settings and how everything feels. But yeah, I mean, it just makes things interesting. By the way, down pit lane, here comes Blake Reynolds.
I think that's the right call. I don't think you want to stay out any longer than that, especially for the race leader. To me, it just seems like if you're not going to take tires, your bed's already made. So if you're banking on no caution here, that's the right call.
Yeah, so here
And if he
comes.
does get a caution, he could still always come back down and take tires, or you know, cycle to the front.
Yeah, so he's still working his way down pit lane. Sarah Rab, there you see her going by. She is yet to make her stop. I think she knew that we were watching her, because she just flashed her lights at the exact right time for us to be able to see. Sarah, you watching us? Give us another flash of the lights. No, I guess not.
I think she was saying hi to Blake as she passed. But yeah, I mean, I like the call by Blake here to come down early. I don't see any loss today. He's got a big gap. I mean, pace isn't an issue,
Yeah.
right? So the only thing that's going to cost him, and I don't see the jacks go up, so he's not taking tires.
Well,
So
it's going to be fuel first and then tires. The tires will come after. They can't fuel both at the same time in the GT3. So that's what we're watching here for. Once we get to another 10 or so seconds in the box, he'll either be released or we'll see the car go up on the jacks. As right now he's dropped down to the 6th spot.
he's on the throttle. He's not taking tires.
Yep, he does not. So he is back underway. 29 seconds there in his box. Navarre Luce does come down pit road as well. It's a long pit road here.
Yeah, I think that's the right call from Blake Reynolds. You know, I didn't see a pace advantage big enough, and only with 37 minutes, I feel like, you know, those tires are probably going to hang on long enough to at least be competitive. If he doesn't get a caution, it's definitely the right call.
Yes, 90 seconds or so is the pit lane time for fuel only. And he's got a minute on Brandon Lambert. So, or Lambert has a minute on him. So yeah, I mean, by the way, did something happen to Ray? He is not taking. Oh, he did. Okay, so Ray Kingsbury did take his second stop as well. That's what it was.
Did he take? Oh, we didn't obviously see him come down, but I wonder if he took tires.
He did not. He was in this box for 27 seconds, so did not take tires for Ray Kingsbury, and he is 25 seconds behind Blake Reynolds.
You gotta wonder if Blake's pit lane decision was in response to Ray, because I think Blake came down the lap earlier.
Yeah, he did. He
So
came down one lap before.
I think Blake was saying, you know what, I don't want to get caught out by a strategy call here. Let me come down.
Yeah, so now that Kingsbury has stopped and Reynolds stopped, just about everybody's starting to follow suit. Kevin Fanning works his way down in the 144. So he is in from what would be P5. That's where he stopped from. And Brokaw works his way down as well from currently P5.
Definitely interesting, and obviously the only other car we got to watch for a pit strategy here, I think, is Sarah Rabb and Brandon Lambert. If Sarah takes tires again, I'll be very, very shocked. And I'm also interested to see if Lambert, if all those OLM cars have decided they need a set of tires at one point throughout the race. It'll be interesting to see if Lambert says, you know what, not worth the risk, or is it worth the risk to not take it? It'll be interesting to see what he decides.
I think that he might have to, because his lap times are not where the rest of these drivers are. Rab's last lap was a 2:16.5 compared to a 2:17.1 for Lambert. The gap between them was about 8 or 9 seconds in holding steady. It's now down to 3 in closing.
Well, you say that, but on lap 18, Brandon's fastest lap was a 16.877. Lap 35, 16.981. So he's only dropped off a tenth since then. To me, that says that car's still competitive enough that I would risk, not changing the tires with 34 minutes to go. But it's, he's in the car, so he can feel that a lot better. So it'll be his call. If the car's stable, though, personally, I would not take him. I would say let's go for this thing.
Yes, so right now, Lambert is in the lead, but your top 4 of Lambert, Rabb, Houston, Carroll all have yet to pit.
And Lambert just came down pit lane.
Yep, Lambert comes down, Rabb stays out. So provisionally, Rabb is in the lead.
And he did get the wall. I don't see any damage in the car, but it looked like he just scraped the wall on pit entry. Very slightly. Nothing major.
Yeah, that was very close for him. We'll take one more look at it from the chase cam. This is a very difficult pit entry. You see him there cutting across the green. Yeah, just a slight scrape. I don't think it did much harm to the car. So you see him working his way down. Sarah Rabb, though, inherits the lead for the time being. But she is 55 seconds ahead of Blake Reynolds, so she'll come out about 30 seconds or so behind. And that 30 seconds mostly came from them electing to take tires.
Yeah, I think all of it came down to that, especially the fact that they had such a huge lead before that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Still plenty of time left in this race for, one of two things, caution or tire wear. So it'll be interesting to see if either one of those things happen.
Carroll pits from the 4th spot, so that's going to improve Blake to now 4th for the time being. See where he cycles out to from the rest of it. Lambert is in his box, and this is Reynolds working his way down the front straight. And now he's already going up Eau Rouge, so that gap is even larger now. As Lambert continues to sit in his box, now he's back underway, 28.5 on the gun for Brandon Lambert. So now only 2 drivers left to stop, and that's Rabb and Houston.
And no tires on that stop for Brandon Lambert, obviously there. So clearly agreed with my assessment of let's give it a go. Or maybe that was his strategy all along. Hard to know, with these cars, and obviously interesting that the Audi team of the LM cars there had to take tires versus the Ferraris didn't. So they must have done enough testing to know that they couldn't risk it. And we see Sarah Rabb down pit lane.
Yes, she is, and we'll watch now Blake Reynolds see where he is at on track. I think this is through Campus Corner. No, this is through Le Fagnes. And now he's going to come up to Campus Corner. So he's got a little bit of time left to go. I think Rabb will have a shorter stop, but still, she is 30 seconds or 20 seconds or so until she's even at her box. So she's got quite a bit of time for Reynolds to catch back up here. Now coming up towards Blanchimont. This, when your tires are getting worn, this corner is very difficult to take cleanly. And now the bus stop chicane. And Rab's still not to her box. Houston, by the way, does pit from P2 as well. And finally, Rab in her box. She's going to get 30 seconds of service. But we'll see how far behind that will leave her when we cycle through. Reynolds is passed. Now Houston up to second. And now up through Radion for Blake Reynolds. And still in her box. Now gone is Sarah Rab. Where's Brandon Lambert? There he is. So this is going to be an interesting blend for the second position. Have to wait and see. Lambert's going to improve to P3 at least. But look at this blend. That is Lambert up to P2 for the time being, but Rab right in the tracks.
Yeah, still plenty of time for her to catch him. And obviously having the newer tires might just happen. But, you know, good drive from Brandon there to be in position for a podium. You know, Ray Kingsbury quite the gap behind, about 10, 11 seconds. So possibly a podium on the horizon here for Brandon Lambert. I don't want to jinx him, but he's run a very good race so far.
Yeah, so definitely been an interesting race. We've had the strategy call, which doesn't seem to have paid off. Those extra 20 or so seconds in the pits, or 25 seconds or whatever, definitely cost the Audi team as they sit 15 seconds behind their overall leader. Still half an hour remaining, still yet to see our caution. And we'll have to wait and see. We're not sure the rules on if that can't come out past a certain point or not. Most of the battles on track for the time being have fizzled out, though. This is the closest one here between Lambert and Rab, as they continue just to battle for the second and third spot on the podium. So close to that wall there for Sarah Rab through La Sauce, and now up to Rouge and Radion. Rab wants to keep this flat so she can make up as much ground. This is where we've seen Lambert lose time a couple of times to some other drivers. But for the time being, he's going to hold on to that position. This Rab right there on the rear wing. Still going to be too far behind. Defensive goes Lambert. Now cuts back into line. Rab thought about the move under braking.
And we have a yellow flag on the racetrack as the caution flag comes out for accumulated incidents.
Wow. So the end of this race just got that much more interesting. So I believe we're going to see, I think, 2 laps behind the safety car. The good thing for most of these drivers, though, is everybody has cycled through their pit stops.
Yeah, a lot of guys sound very happy about that. You know, Brian saw about the oil lap down. I'm not sure if he did actually.
He did not. He is currently just barely still on the lead lap.
Yeah, Marwan Mopta, another one of those. So those guys obviously excited as they'll stay on the lead lap. Gives them a chance to make up ground. And, you know, this puts those Audis right where they need to be. They've got the advantage here on tires. So who knows if they'll be able to make it happen or not.
I mean, you still have 20 laps on your tires, but, I mean, that's 20 laps fresher than just about everybody else. The interesting thing is who's going to adapt to the cold tires better. As now we see the field starting to form up behind Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, they're also going to cool off. You know, I'm not sure if that'll have a big impact here, but road racing doesn't usually have cautions unless done like this manually.
Yeah, the interesting thing as well is how do these tires, especially this far into a run, handle that heat cycle?
Yeah, because this is going to be an extended period. This is going to be like 2 or 3 laps. You know, we're going to have probably like 15 minutes left in the race, or 20 minutes when we go green. Because I'm imagining this is going to take, you know, 7-ish minutes to cycle through. Because it's such a long track.
Yeah, so the field there, you see them starting to bunch up. The first ever road course caution in NASA history.
That's actually not true either, because we had one during, I think it was Belle Isle.
Did we?
During the IndyCar race, yeah.
Interesting.
There's a big wreck, and I think they called one.
Shows how much I paid attention during those races.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was one.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I was not there. I was not present for Belle Isle, so that explains why I didn't remember that one. But yes, so anyway, at least the first caution in this series, as we took under 25 minutes and formed up here behind. I thought we'd be behind the pace car, but
They are. It's just up the straightaway a little bit.
oh, okay.
We'll catch it eventually.
The pace car is already into Lecombe, and Blake's trying to catch up.
Yeah, they had Blake reduce pace just so that way the field doesn't, slam into anyone. So they having him go about 100 miles an hour rather than have everyone go 60 and have any incidents. It'll obviously close up as they get closer to the pit lane.
There's the iRacing safety car. I wish they would have picked the truck.
Not just for America.
Just that big old pickup truck with these cars looks ridiculous, and I love it.
Clearly, it's a Ford Raptor. But yeah, the Porsche safety car picks up the field there. And, I think we're going to have a cycle of pit stops here. 1 lap, maybe. Will we get 2 on road racing? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see when they come across the line, but gonna be interesting on the restart and see what happens when it does come out. But for the time being, just to kind of talk about it next week. No, we've got a week off next week, but after that we go to Hockenheim, and then back to back. Not back to back. Yeah, so Hockenheim and Mosport back to back, and then to end the month of May, we go to the Chicago Street Circuit, followed by the Indianapolis Road Course.
Yeah, it sounds like a fantastic end of the season. Hockenheim is a fun track. Kind of actually a narrow track in some spots, but very fun. And then obviously Chicago, a street course. Not the most complicated street course, but I do hear it's pretty bumpy and very fast for a street course. So I'm looking forward to that one.
And it can be pretty technical as well. It's definitely, just like most street circuits are, it's very punishing. And there's not, no room for error, we'll put it that way. The invert is going to make that race insane.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest concern that a lot of guys will have for that one is just the invert. I wonder if anyone will just sacrifice a few positions so they can start further up. But with how much the sprints are worth, that's a risky play. All right, looks like just about everyone's stacked up to the pace car here. Brian Son, the last car to join the grid. That's everyone. So let's see if any takers. Marwan Mafta, Keith Jeffrey, and Brian Son, your tail end of the field coming down. But I think that's a smart choice here. You know, they're going to take maybe some tires and then catch back up to the field. Kieran Forrest also came down when he realized he couldn't get his lap back. So, yeah, pace cars, lights should be going off here. And it'll be 1 lap to green.
Yep, and there it is. Lights are off. And we'll wait until we come across that same timing line before the green flag comes out. So we will get through La Sauce before we go back green, which definitely will make things easier. But Blake is going to get a fantastic jump, I feel like, coming off of... he's going to be able to get a fantastic jump coming out of that last corner. So definitely going to be fun to watch as we continue to work our way under caution here. Well, I would say about 16 or so minutes remaining by the time that we get back green once again.
Yeah, and then in the back here, you're going to have a few cars that are going to be on fresh tires possibly, and they'll be warm because they're going to be able to get up to speed here. It's going to take about 30 seconds. They'll have, 30 seconds worth of corners to warm them up, so it'll be interesting to see how those guys do. As we see, Blake Reynolds isn't warming his tires, but Brandon Lambert leaving, Peter Houston leaving, and I think we saw Sarah Rab was also leaving a bit there. So Marwan Mafta and then Keith Jeffrey exiting the pit lane. Brian Son's still taking stop. It looks like he's leaving now. So it looks like those guys possibly all have new tires.
Yeah, so last 3 cars on the lead lap all did come down for a stop. Don't think they took fuel, but definitely got tires and ready to continue on.
Yeah, Keith Jeffrey didn't take tires, but Son did, and I think Marwan Mopta didn't either. It looks like he wasn't up in the jacks. Yeah, so just Brian Son. Maybe the others had damage they wanted to repair.
That would make some sense as well. So just working our way, very long caution laps here, which is kind of why it makes sense that for the most part they do not have them in the official iRacing series. But there you see Lambert trying to get as much heat into the tires as he can generate.
The current discussion they're having is where the restart line is here. They're not sure if it's the GP restart or if it's going to be the start-finish line. So then they're not sure basically if it's the front stretch where they started the race or if it's where the timing line is.
It'll be after Lacombe, so it's going to be where they started the race.
Yeah, so they're having that discussion now. I wonder if they're going to just have Blake back him off of the pace car, because once the pace car goes down, I believe, into the pit lane, he can actually go, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think once that thing's off, I think they told Blake he can pick his spot to go. I think he'll be going right off that last corner.
Yeah, for sure. Just waiting for the strategy to come through and see how big of a jump he can get. Definitely was wondering if we were going to see the caution, and of course we did. And now we have a shootout to the finish. The field trying to get bunched back up once again.
Yeah, it's turned into a 16-minute or so sprint race that we're going to have here, just under 17 minutes probably when they take the green. So it should be interesting. We're used to that format of a sprint race. So are these guys. What they're not used to is tire wear. And we got a little bit of difference in some of these cars.
Pace car is in.
Reynolds is waiting. He's not going, so either we're going to see the green flag or he's going to wait until the end of this corner here, which could be a good, interesting strategy to do also.
Yeah, so he's just going to try to get the jump off of La Sauce and try to pull away through Eau Rouge. Through the corner, and there he goes. So
It's a decent jump on Brandon Lambert, but not anything spectacular. Ray Kingsbury, the one that looks like he loses a bit there. Sarah Rabb with a pretty good start on Brandon Lambert.
Yeah, and that's where Reynolds has been so strong, is through that Eau Rouge complex and up through Radion. But now down the Kemmel Straight. Lambert sitting in the draft. Defensive goes Reynolds. He's alongside, but he's not going to have the inside line. He backs out of it, and he's going to just tuck back in to the second position.
Yeah, top 4 under a blanket here. Lambert even putting some pressure on Blake Reynolds, so we'll have to see if Lambert has speed to get around him or not. And if not, will he hold up these fast LLM Audis?
Yeah, this Audi team has been so strong all season long. They've had drivers be competitive for the podium just about every race. But where do they make a move? Are they able to make a move? Because they're still losing a little bit of time here to Brandon Lambert.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot. You know, if a downforce dependent car like they have in the Audis, going through that corner, they lose the dirty air.
And very
Oh,
wide there was Kingsbury into the gravel, but able to collect it.
yeah, he's using all the racing surface, including the sand.
He's using more than the racing surface at this point.
I think he's a little fast in this area right now. I think he's not going to wait around. He's going to try to take that spot here in the next corner or two.
Yeah, so now they come towards Blanchimont. This is where Kingsbury's been very strong from watching him over the last 2 years here on iRacing. He loves that corner and knowing exactly how to take, but can't make the move on Rab there. Still not close enough. But they're all nose to tail once again as we continue now through the bus stop chicane and onto the front straightaway.
Ray's very wide there, isn't he? Going to drive a good drive off the corner, but Rab and Lambert all over the back of each other there, including on Reynolds.
You don't want to take that corner too tight. We saw Cody Crosgrove collect that inside wall, trying to get too aggressive with it. So now up towards Rouge once again, and it's Reynolds by about half a second, but not letting him run and hide is Brandon Lambert.
Yeah, we've seen Lambert get runs down the straightaway. It'll be interesting to see if he can tuck up in the draft. It looks like he's got the run. He might get alongside.
But Reynolds knows he can't let him get the inside. He shoots to the outside, does Lambert. And that's going to give a great run to him. But no, still Reynolds out in front. I think that Lambert just kind of sizing up his run, knowing how deep he's able to go there if he gets along on the outside in a couple laps' time.
He can definitely get the move done there if he can get close enough. The Ferrari does seem to have some legs over the Mercedes, but also those fast Audis behind him have good straightaway speed. We'll see if they can get a move done very soon and make the move on Reynolds.
Yeah, through double gauge, a couple cars almost collected the outside barrier. Oh, Lambert misses his braking point. That's going to cost him time. He loses one spot. Will he lose a second? Side by side with Kingsbury, but he's going to have the inside here. No, he does not. He backs out.
He's got out brake there. It looked like he got loose under the trail brake there and just, you know, big wiggle and good save. But now we've got the two LM out. He's going to try to chase down Blake Reynolds.
So we'll jump up here to Sarah Rab. The good thing for her, for the time being at least, is she's got that gap in front of her, so she's got some clean air. She's got some downforce on the nose of that Audi. But what is that going to do for her in a straight line with not having that slipstream of Blake Reynolds?
Yeah, and you got to wonder if Ray just told her to set sail and chase and not to worry about him because, you know, obviously if they lose to Blake, that's points lost. So maybe he's going to say, let's get to Blake first, let's get the moves done, and then we can fight.
And it's been a fantastic race all evening long from Brandon Lambert. So unfortunate to see him with that slight mistake cost him 2 spots. But still, I mean, I'd be content with the 4th place finish and being right there with some of these faster drivers at the end.
Yeah, I think Lambert's got to be, you know, realistic, you know, right strategy choice all day. And then it also puts him in position to be the AMP class winner. So that's really his goal for the season, is to win that, obviously. And, you know, he's doing the right steps week in, week out for that.
Fanning and Houston back behind these two. They just swap, still side by side, actually. That's Houston in the 4 on the inside, and he is going to get that move done. So he is up into the 5th position for Peter Houston. Looking further back, Navarre Luce right behind Taylor Carroll. Carroll's been a little up and down today and currently sits in the 7th spot. But we'll go back up front to Sarah Rab trying to chase down Blake Reynolds here with only a handful of laps left to go.
We got another car out of the race. Brian Son with the meatball flag. Front end of that car entirely turned off. Looks like he tried to go side by side with Marwan Mafta and the Blanchimont. He got the move done. Marwan lifted, but he clipped the left side curb on the apex and just lost the car from Blanchimont and hit the inside wall.
Yep.
Tim Brokaw, another one that lost it through Blanchimont. He has some rear end damage too.
Yeah, that's such a flat corner. And you barely, and it's a fast corner as well. You barely catch anything wrong. The inside curb, the outside curb. You turn the wheel just a slight bit too much. The back end steps out right away, and there is no catching it there.
Yeah, both incidents were side by side. One driver did back out on each side, and they knew they couldn't make it through the too wide. But one of them being a compromised inside line, the other one being he had an outside line, so just turned in really sharp too late at high speed and just lost the rear end. And we see Peter Houston obviously got around him and Fanning, but he's not running away yet. And that battle at the front heating up with Sarah Rapp all over the back of Blake Reynolds. And she's pretty close. She might be able to pull the draft here and make a attack down into turn number 3.
It's now up through Eau Rouge, through Radion, and down the Kemmel straight. Will she have the launch? She's right there. She's got a fantastic run. Blake's not going to give her the inside, but can she hold up around the outside here through Lake Home?
We'll see who can outbrake who. Blake Reynolds a little bit better on the brakes there, but Sarah Rebb not moving over too much. Gonna see if she can set up a move here.
These drivers in MTech were on sister teams. One in the GT3, that was Reynolds with Ray Kingsbury, and the other was Sarah Rabb in the GT4, both for Team Last Lap Motorsports. Both of those cars did end up winning their class in that series as well. And all throughout this season even, these drivers have gotten very familiar. They've tangled once or twice, but it seemed like racing incident for the most part between the two. So can Rabb catch back up? We saw her get alongside. The gap was very close. Now it's up to 0.4 of a second again. Rabb needs that slipstream to try to find a way by. She's not going to be able to do it, I don't feel like, in the corners.
Yeah, she's got the pace. I think they've dropped Ray right now. And, Sarah showing why that she's was the top driver in, the MTech series for the GT4 class. She's rated as a silver driver over there, but her driving quality is far beyond that as she learns, and gets more experience in the race cars.
Yeah, through Campus Establo, not close enough and not able to really do much here coming into Blanchimont, but running wider there, peeking to the inside, but still, just as they go through the bus stop, she is right there once again. As close as she's been. Contact.
Just letting them know she's there. This is definitely heating up. If you're Ray Kingsbury, you're saying, okay, a little more of that. I don't mind getting a free win here.
Lambert licking his chops right behind him as well, as now they work down. This is the part of the track where Rabb needs a good run. She closed up a lot during this sector last time around. Can she do the same once again?
Fantastic run through the corner. Might even clear Blake Reynolds here if she can carry enough speed.
She's got to have to go the long way around through Kemmel. Now down the Kemmel straight. She is alongside as they come to Lacombe. Can she get the move done? It looks like no once again, but you need to be clear. She holds on to it now. She's on the inside. Can she get the move done on corner exit? No, it switches back to the right, and now she is clear, and now can she try to run away and hide with it?
And Blake Reynolds tried to fight back there, couldn't quite do it. And Sarah got that job done. Is Ray Kingsbury going to be able to size it up now?
Reynolds runs very wide there. This is the battle for the podium. 1, 2, 3. That teal car in the back is Brandon Lambert, currently in 4th. But Sarah Rabb up into P1 with a fantastic move, and she's already half a second clear.
Yeah, and Blake Reynolds making that car work. Didn't show this much pace in practice and qualifying, but has definitely gotten faster as the race goes on. Car doesn't seem to be set up for a longer run, but you do got to wonder if those older tires are starting to fade.
Yeah, I think that if you're Kingsbury, you know what the Audi can do up against the Mercedes. The question is, are you going to be able to make the same move that Rab did? It takes some fortitude to get that move done, and Rab did it, but can Kingsbury do the same? Looks to the inside, comes to the bus stop chicane, does not, tucks back in line. 1, 2, 3, under a blanket, off the bus stop chicane. And about, I would say, 2-ish laps to go. We'll have to wait and see when we see the white flag, because that's just about gonna. This could be 2 to go. It could be 1 to go.
They're all very, very close. Reynolds sets up a good run off the corner. He might be able to pounce back on Sarah Rab in the same manner she did before.
Yeah, so now up through Eau Rouge once again, through Radion and down the Kemmel Straight. This run has been so pivotal all race long. A fantastic run from Reynolds, trying to get the move done again. Now he's got a ton of power now around the outside. He's got his nose ahead. It's his corner, under braking though. Oh, and Reynolds still there. It's going to be the same move, forcing her all the way to the edge of the track. And now Kingsbury's thinking about making the move on Rab. Does not do it. Rab still tucks in line, and now back to the point goes Reynolds once again.
Don't look now, but Brandon Lambert is sitting back there, and he's like, all right. He's like, I got a shot, because if you guys keep running side by side like this, I got the pace.
Yeah, I don't
As
know.
he runs a 2:16.7 last time by, 2:17.4 from Blake Reynolds. So if they keep fighting like this and scrapping, he's definitely going to catch up, and we might have a 4-car race.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic battle ever since that caution flew. And 4 minutes to go. These 3 for the final, or for the podium. Who's going to step on the top step at the end of it? We'll just have to wait and see. And we'll keep an eye on that clock as well. Will we get 1 to go at the line? Will we have 2 more laps left? I don't think the fuel's going to be an issue with when everybody last pit, and with that caution saving everybody a little bit of time out there. But still, tucking back in line in the slipstream once again is Sarah Rab, trying to think about if she can get the same move done. Now through Blanchimont.
Kind of a game of chess. It's whoever can make that move last, and if you can defend, even better. Oh,
contact!
They managed to gather it up, but Ray Kingsbury going to pounce on that, get the job.
Oh, there's contact between the teammates.
Ray thought he was clear, tried to come down on the apex, couldn't see Sarah, and she obviously pushed wide as she was trying to rejoin, and they just clobbered each other.
And that's going to open the door for Brandon Lambert to step onto the podium. Kingsbury lost a ton of time. He's feeling no pressure from Peter Houston. He's still about a second and a half or so behind him. So this battle for the second spot could be the last battle. It was looking so promising at the front for so long. That was a great battle there between Reynolds and Rab, and now it's between Lambert and Rab.
Yeah, and Ray's got significant damage.
And I think that Rab does as well. She's got no straight line speed here.
Yeah, Ray's got steering damage. He's turned about 25 degrees to the left. So his car is definitely hurt with some suspension damage. And Sarah, like you just said, same thing. Slow down the straights. Steering damage also on that car. She's turned to the left about 25 degrees also.
Yeah, once we get to a straightaway, we'll take a look here at the steering damage for Rab's car. And that's unfortunate. We've seen her put herself in some unfortunate situations this season. That was just a racing deal between the two. Very wide there through double gauche, now on board. Yep, there you see it. Running straight, but the wheel about 10, 15 degrees to the left. And that is not going to help your car turning right. So got a little bit of a gap, though, for her back to Ray Kingsbury. And both of them have some damage. That was through Blanchimont, and that's that's the dangerous corner where you don't want to have that sort of steering damage. It's a through now. Have to see.
Both those cars definitely struggling. I think Rab's struggling even more than Kingsbury, which is shocking because it looked like he got the worst end of that. But
I got a little lost on the track. That wasn't through Blanchimont. That was through Le Fania. So now continue work away. I think this here, yeah, that is Blanchimont now, working their way towards.
Grabs around, doesn't hit the wall, but definitely a spin that's going to cost time as Ray Kingsbury blows by. Peter Houston, Taylor Carroll, Kevin Fanning, Navarro Luce. She's finally getting restarted. And it looks like Keith Jeffrey's going to get her also, so big mistake there. With Marwan Mafta going to be right on her heels. So, what went from a second place finish, podium finish is now looking like a mid-pack finish for her as we take the white flag.
Yep, there you see it. 37 seconds to go, taking the white flag. Final lap here for these drivers, and wow. The race got a little dull in the middle, but it picked right back up at the end.
Yeah, this person to be watching right now is Peter Houston, Ray Kingsbury. Ray's got massive damage, and Peter's going to want that podium position. He's closing up on him.
Now he switched to the Lamborghini just today. He's switched cars just about every round this season, is yet to make a podium. But he might do it here at Spa. Maybe the extra distance to the race kind of helped him out there. He's got the extra light on the nose of that car. As now Ray's just playing defense. I think this might be the first time that Audi Sport Slovakia Last Lap Motorsports team is shut out from the podium this season. Blake Reynolds, though, looking to get yet another victory. He's leading the championship in the Pro class. Brandon Lambert, currently second running, is leading in the AM class point standings as well. So he's looking to get another victory there in the overall. We'll go up front here to Blake Reynolds. Now through Campus, through Stavlo. Continue to work his way now down towards Blanchimont for the final time. And this is the corner where Rab lost last time around. This next corner is where she and Reynolds came together, followed by herself and Kingsbury at the same corner. But Reynolds, through the caution, with the strategy, from start to finish, what a run for Blake Reynolds as he takes the victory, followed by Brandon Lambert. Ray Kingsbury is going to take home third. Peter Houston, Taylor Carroll, Kevin Fanning, and Navarro Luce coming home, and then Keith Jeffrey with an 8th place finish. Sarah Rabb ends up dropping all the way down. She's going to take to the pit lane and just, yep, she's done with that car as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small mistake. The contact itself wasn't bad, and if it was just the two of them, they would have been fine. But when you got another car there, that's going to obviously try to take advantage of that and win his own race. You got to be careful with your rejoin because it's your responsibility to not collect anyone else. So it's a learning thing for her because she didn't really do much wrong. She's like, oh, I just rejoined the track on the inside, but Ray had no idea she was there, obviously, and that's where the danger comes from.
So let's see here. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is... I think this was the lap that had happened. That was her spin.
It's a lap prior to this.
Yeah, so we'll go back one more lap. Yep. So here, we'll go to... We'll run it back here. Let's jump on... Let's go with the cockpit view from... This is with Kingsbury. Let's watch from his perspective, see what he sees. There you see, so just trying to cover off the move a little late. There you see Rab running wide. You can't really expect her to rejoin like she did. He tries to go to the apex, yeah, and there was just no room for him to find his way through.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that contact, the initial contact and her braking there, I'm not sure, if Sarah was alongside Blake or not, but yeah, that was an interesting move because she definitely moved first and then he reacted. I understand you're trying to set us up for the brake zone, so there's no really problem with that. Just the question is if there was overlap. If there was overlap, that's unfortunate, but it was very close. I don't think Blake was laying a block on purpose like that. I think that's just, when you're in the position, you've got to defend, and if you don't think someone's alongside you, you're obviously going to slide over and cover up the move.
So it was a great race all around from just about everybody out there. But in the end, Blake Reynolds gets yet another victory. So we're going to hold on for just a second. All right, we'll jump straight into things because I think that we all kind of just want to go take a nap after this one. Ray, fantastic race from you. I know that it was not the finish I guess you were hoping for, but it's still a podium.
Yeah, it was a good result. It was a good race. Had fun at the end. Sometimes you can't help these things, you know. People are going for race wins, and we touch. It happens. Not the end of the world.
I was going to say, contact with your teammate. I know that's not the best feeling. Talk us through that incident there at the end.
Well, I went into the corner third, and I came out of it third, so I didn't really lose anything out of it. She lost out big time, obviously. She's going for the race win there, and I don't even know where she finished. Looks like 12th. She lost a lap. So, yeah, you know, thinks that Sarah wasn't able to finish because of that, but I think we both drove a really good race. We took a risk on the strategy early on to grab tires after the first stint, thinking the tire wear was going to be a lot worse. And the hope was the caution would come out soon after that, and we wouldn't have to take tires, and everybody else would kind of get a jump on them. But it didn't. I mean, it still paid dividends at the end. You could see we were fast, and caution did come out eventually. There was 618 total incidents, by the way.
Now, what was going through your head when that caution came out?
Like when it came out, I was hoping for it to come out because I needed it to catch back up. But yeah, no, I was just glad it came out. It was just what we were kind of counting on. We knew that it would be a matter of time, but that was real close to the end. I mean, I guess they must have redone the track limits here because it was barely giving me any off tracks. I really was throwing it off onto like the green runoff area to get them, which I like using runoff area, like the curbing. So I think if it's, you know, painted in part of the racing surface, why can't you use it? But
all right, go ahead and thank your sponsors, man. Let's wrap things up for tonight. It's bedtime. I'm an old man.
yeah, I hear you. I mean, this Audi Sport Slovakia machine is just fast. We got Spark on board as usual, Penguin RC Sim, Complex SimWorks, and obviously, you know, Audi, Centrum, Bratislava, Gear 49, and all the guys at the Last Lap Motorsports shop. Great car as usual. They did a lot of work this week.
Well, hey, congratulations on the podium, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's right, Kingsbury, your second place finisher. And jumping straight into the next one, Brandon Lambert, you beat Ray Kingsbury. How does it feel?
That's a trip for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic race. What did you think restarting just ahead of those guys?
I knew I had a shot to keep them behind me. I knew they had better tires than I did, and it really showed in probably the second sector of this racetrack for sure. But you know, if I could keep them behind me through there, then I think I was all right. But I screwed it up about 2 laps into the restart, and got really loose in the carousel and took her way wide, and was able to hang on to her. But you know, I stayed with them, so you know, I'm loving that I'm getting faster in this car.
I'll say, well, do you think the track helped you at all? Were you very familiar with it, or what kind of helped your success here today?
This is a track that I've ran, of course, multiple times. It's never been nice to me though, so for it to be nice to me for once was absolutely amazing. Got to thank Cody for the setup this week. I was struggling like crap, and he came in with a setup to literally today, and I was able to take it across the racetrack a couple laps and make a small minor adjustments to keep us up in pace down the straights. But setup was absolutely planted and really, really quick.
Now you made up, or you were in the lead. You had a 20-point lead coming in. You finished a couple spots higher than the guy in second, Taylor Carroll. So you're just slowly but surely building on your championship lead there in the AM class. What are you hoping for here?
I'm hoping I can keep this momentum going. You know, the AM class is wide open with a couple of us, and you know, if I can continue to beat them out by a couple spots each week, then that's really going to help my chances. This AM championship has been something I've been after since we started this AM class, and I have struggled past couple of seasons. I had a good chance at it last season, just had a bad Daytona race. This season, I was like, it's mine this time. But I know after this season, no matter what happens to me, I'll be going pro. So let's hope make the most of it and get an AM championship underneath my belt.
He's calling his shot. Brandon, congratulations on the AM class win and the second overall. Who do you want to thank today?
I just got to thank everybody at LLM and Complex System Working Christian Notes, main sponsor of the car this season. And yeah, just everybody that Cody for the setup, just everybody in the LLM group, and hopefully we can continue this going.
Yeah, it was a great run from you and a fantastic finish there at the end.
Thank you.
That's Brandon Lambert, your second place finisher on the night. And Matt, let's wrap things up here, man. What's your final thoughts on the event?
I thought it was a really good race. Overall, obviously could have been a little more interesting, and couldn't have been any more interesting really at the end. But early on got spread out, got a little boring, but then came right back together. I think the caution format really helped with a lot of things.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting strategy move there at the end of the race, but definitely had some fun battles throughout. And congratulations to the winner of the first ever sprint race here in the Penguin RC Sports Car Challenge. And we have to thank everybody that helps put these shows on, from everybody on our competition team to our sponsors, both of the cars and the series. I know we've got partnerships with, of course, Penguin RC. Thanks to Brian for that one as well. I think with Major's Garage and just about everybody else here on board, whether that's Ray Kingsbury, Kieran Forrest, Brandon Lambert, Zack Johnson for putting these graphics together, and everybody that helps here behind the scenes at NASA. We couldn't do this without just about everybody that helps put these shows on. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, we got Blake here. Blake, you snuck in on me.
Yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna wrap things up without you, but you're here. So you know what?
Just analyzing that racing there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got carried away.
No, you're all right, man. We'll talk to you for a minute. I already did my outro, but screw it, we're here. What'd you think when that caution came out?
I mean, I was told it was going to take like 600 incidents to get it, and I was like, there's no way, right? There's only like 15 cars here. And Ray just told me there was 618 incidents. I'm like, how? And then Ray told me that he had 130 incidents, and I had 19. So that really shows who was trying to get the caution there. So,
Well, obviously me and Ray are related, so I would have done the same thing.
yeah, Matt, you're kind of a
Wrecking ball.
incident hog.
I mean, I went through a Daytona 24 once, and I picked up, before they implemented the safety limits and all that, and I dropped myself a full license class because I picked up like 150 off tracks in like 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, hey, our General Tire Mercedes AMG was insane. I'm glad Keith could show up. Keith got 8th. That's his best now. Second star. He got 10th last week. 8th this week. So glad we stayed in the game. Dude, our car sucked, Chad. Our car sucked at that first stage. Or, sorry, NASCAR lingo.
The first stint.
The first stint. Car sucked. And I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to beat them. Because that Audi is just so good. Especially at a track like this with the medium to high-speed corners.
No, you didn't.
For some reason, they even had a straightaway advantage. I don't know if that was a wing or what, but.
So you didn't take tires, and they did. Did you think of anything there that really helped you out?
Well, no. I know Spa rubber's up, especially in those slower sections where the tires will wear, and even in like Pouon, a fast left-hander, double apex left-hander, that'll destroy the right side. So I'm just sitting there. And I'm just like, I'm not going to take tires. Me and Keith are arguing about our car the entire time. I mean, basically, that was a Nürburgring 24 setup from Craig Setup Shops. Thank you, Craig. Shout out you. There was no Spa set, so I had to use that. It drove okay on at first stint. I obviously made up a couple spots, but I just couldn't get to those Audis. And then we pit, and all of a sudden, the heat-cycled tires with full fuel had rotation. And it had a loose balance out of nowhere, like completely different setup feeling. And me and Keith were blown away. Like Keith picked up like 3 seconds a lap, not taking tires. How was that? I don't know, but it ended up working. We were only wearing about 20% the entire fuel stint, so that last one at the end of the race here, I had about like 45, 50 something on the tires. Just crazy stuff. But I'm glad I'm glad. I'll call them General tires because General tires are durable and they last a long time. So I think my General tires,
They're-
totally not Michelin's.
They're generally
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, they're generally awesome. Um, for keeping my strategy going. And then the safety car blew me away. And then obviously we had the draft battles down the straights, and I was just trying to hold them off. Sarah got by me. I got by her. A little bit of artsy bargy, but that's how it is.
Yeah. What in your eyes happened in that incident there? It looked like both of you were just fighting over the same real estate.
Yeah, she thought I was going to be more defensive, and I pretty distinctly held a straight line toward my breaking point. So she tried to fill that gap. Anyone would, but I felt like I very distinctly like intently was doing exactly what wasn't going to happen. What she thought was going to happen. I wasn't doing that. So, um, yeah, I'll just put that up to racing. I'll listen to the review panel, but that was just good hard racing, and I think that was a really I don't want to call it desperate because she had the advantage on me, but she was trying, and that's all it is.
Yeah. If I had the opportunity to take you out of a race, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah. If you can catch me, Chad.
Oh no, I just wait until you lap
I'd
me.
wait on you.
Yeah, I was
Follow
waiting
me
until you
Gray
lap
style.
me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
no, fantastic race home. You got yet another victory to help out your championship hopes, and yeah, who do you have to thank here tonight?
Well, thank everyone at NASA. I've run I don't know how many different series in this league. I still haven't run Rallycross.
You
but,
should.
No. I'll thank Penguin RC, Brian Son. Shout out to him. Pretty cool deal with him coming up soon. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, Jim Beaver Esports, General Tire, Vision Wheel, Next Level Racing, all our partners over at JB15 and Jim Beaver Esports, and y'all. I'm sure this broadcast was entertaining. Matt certainly probably filled the air, Chad, while you're doing all the production work. Or I'm assuming you are. You have production help tonight?
Nope, it's me.
Oh, it's you. Yeah, I'm sure you were entertained because there was a lot of strategy in that race. So,
Yeah, I the strategy
That's it.
talks from me is up Blake's pitting, up everybody else is pitting. That's about all I know. Ray or Matt's the one that does all the details. So shout out to him. But thanks for jumping in here, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
yep. Thank you.
Yep, that's Blake Reynolds, your overall winner here tonight from Spa. But we've just about thanked everybody already tonight. So to wrap things up for Matt Kingsbury, I'm CubeCast, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time from Hockenheim.